Hi, I'm Paul Feig, the director of Bridesmaids, and this is Notes on a Scene.
I just feel like I'm excited and I feel relaxed and I'm ready to party.
We're going to look at the airplane scene, one of my favorite sequences in the movie, and one of the sequences that I probably laughed the most during the making of. The original scene in the script was that they go to Las Vegas. I thought it would be hilarious. We were actually out scouting it and everything and finding locations for it. And then we just one day in our writer's room, our rewrite room, we just went, you know what? The Hangover was just last year. It did Vegas really, really well. Do we want to compete with that? And so I remember going, well, what if they just don't get there? What if it all falls apart on the plane? And that became a very funny idea to us, and the scene is now history. So this is starting halfway through the actual scene where Annie's been given booze and a pill by Helen to try to calm her down. Did Helen try to sabotage her? We don't know. I don't think she did, but it just happened. And so this is Annie coming up into first class. Annie, the nervous flyer, coming into first class. The whole thing on this was every time we would do a take, Kristen would do something different, and she was so funny at playing drunk that I just kept doing it over and over again because she would always come in with something new that made me laugh, and I think I made her shoot this, I had it like 7 or 8 times, just because whenever she would come through that curtain back here, it was always just like, what's gonna happen? What's she gonna do this time? What stage of drunkenness will she be at, and what stage of aggressiveness will she be at with Helen?
Is this that place?
Yeah, did you?
It was on the real one? Are you kidding me? Oh my God, it's great.
This was at this place called Air Hollywood, which is out in the valley in Los Angeles, and they have these insides of these planes, and you go in and they can replace the seats, and you can change the color and all this stuff if you want. And so we made this into a nice 747 because the first class had to be nice. But you have to keep pulling walls out. So a shot like this, where we're out the window, everything's very tight, and you've got the cameras kind of in, so you can see everybody. It's not fun shooting on an airplane. Let's just say that. So you see our really high-end special effects out there. We had somebody blowing smoke past the windows. So they're apparently flying at a very low altitude through a cloud. But we thought we were very clever with this because we weren't great filmmakers back then.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm so much more relaxed. Thank you, Helen.
It's the most dangerous thing in the world for an actor to play drunk because it's so easy to be cartoonish with it. And my only advice is always, when you're drunk, the thing you lose control of is your lower back. So it's a lot of like leaning and this kind of stuff. But everybody who's drunk doesn't think they're drunk, and so they don't try to act drunk. And so that's really the key. But she had a major task to be both high and drunk at the same time. But that's why it was so much fun. One of my favorite things that Kristen does in this scene, I don't know why it makes me laugh, is this weird hip swing she does when she arrives. This makes me laugh. It's just such a weird thing. But that's, again, that goes back to it's just funny being drunk because you kind of think you're in control of your body and you're doing these weird things. So the genius of Kristen Wiig.
I'm excited and I feel relaxed and I'm ready to party with the best of them. And I'm gonna go down to the river.
I forget what was scripted and what wasn't, but I can almost guarantee that I'm Ready to Party wasn't scripted. I think this only happened on one take, the I'm Ready to Party. And this is one of our later takes, and I just remember going, okay, I think she's so in the zone right now, especially when she then turns around and just makes fun of Helen. Oh, you do? All that stuff.
We're going to a restaurant tonight. I know the owner, so it's just
You
coming.
do? Oh, Helen is the owner.
It's when she turns, it really makes me laugh because she comes up so contrite. Hey, thanks, Helen. And just the moment when her eyes just settle on Helen and the face goes, I can't remember in the script how much she was actually supposed to be aggressive to her. My memory is that this came out of nowhere. The moments in comedy that I find to be the less successful ones are the ones that are not heavily scripted, but just heavily rehearsed and overthought, where we're just doing all this stuff and do this and turn your head this way and actually put the emphasis on this word, and then you're just kind of making them into puppets, and that's not great.
Miss, you cannot be up here.
Hello, Grandpa.
Got a shout out. This man is the hero of this scene. That is Mitch Silpa, who is brilliant. He's been in 2 of my other movies too. But this scene would not be funny without Mitch, who is the perfect straight man for this. And Kristen and Mitch know each other from the Groundlings. They've known each other forever. They would do sketches on stage together. And so having Mitch there just made all the difference in the world to just be this absolute straight man to all the terrible stuff that she says. I always try to use 2 cameras, A and a B camera. A camera is your hero camera, so that's this, getting this main shot. This is your A camera right here, shooting all this. Camera's right here. But usually I'll put it like a B camera here that will be getting a close-up of her, or an over, so it's like a 2 shot of them. Because you want to have that coverage so that you can, if they're doing something super funny, I can cut between it, but if I want to cut a line out, or if I need to pull up the timing on something, or I want to cut to another joke they did from a previous take, I can cut between them. Because what I hate is, standard movie making, okay, we're going to shoot your side of the scene, so we do shoot your side of the scene, and you get on a roll with the person who's off screen in the scene, and you're making jokes, and they make you laugh, and there's an ad lib. Then you go like, okay, well now let's recreate that on this side. And it's never as good. It's always, they're doing a joke again. But what's funny is the things that happen for the very first time and how people react and if they laugh at each other. And that's when you go, oh, I'm really watching something that feels real to me.
I'm sorry. I just want to be here with my friends because I'm with this group.
The sign just went off. Can't she stay up here for like a minute? and just
Absolutely not.
I just find it very endearing that how Maya holds her hand during this. I always find it very sweet. I mean, it's one of these things, I don't even know if I noticed it when we were shooting it. This is the crazy thing, when you make a movie, you're so focused on certain things that there's things that your actors do that you don't notice. And it's only when you get in the editing room, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize they did their eyebrow lift here. They did something. You see a lot of it, but then there's other stuff you just kind of don't see.
Coach passengers are not allowed up here in first class. It's policy. I'm sorry.
Oh, this is a very strict plane that I'm on. Welcome to Germany. Auf Wiedersehen, asshole.
This was my gag.
All right. Why don't you go?
I'm gonna go take a
down.
nap. I'm
Yeah,
tired. I'm gonna take a nap.
I think it's a good idea.
Catch you on the flip side, motherfuckers.
That was one that came out of nowhere that made me laugh so hard. I think if you turned up the audio, you would probably hear me snort in the background. I always, when I make a movie, I always have to pull myself further and further away from the set because I will laugh. I just do that. And I always like to try to be up with the cameras and next to them and watching the monitors, but a lot of times in these kind of scenes, I just have to take myself away because I will ruin a take.
This should be open because it's civil rights. This is the 90s.
Right. It's not. You're in the wrong decade.
You are.
Okay, I am.
The way that Mitch is playing off her and just everything she's saying, these are all ad libs that are happening in the moment, and just the fact that he's countering her with just treating her like a child and trying to get rid of her, but also being funny in the process and just keep setting her up. I mean, it's really brilliant. The other thing I love about this whole scene is the idea of the curtains. We had a lot of fun with that. There's some gags we had where she kept just putting her face through, and then she would do, I'm on an elevator, and she'd be going up and down. So we had lots of curtain gags that didn't make it into the movie. So the tracking shot that we go, over here, the whole idea playing up the comedy of like, okay, she failed at this door, so now somehow she's going to be more successful at this door, which looks exactly the same. It's a tracking shot just to kind of play the comedy of like, I just want to remind you where that other door was, and it was only about 10 feet away from the door she's coming in now.
Miss?
No, it's not me.
Yes, it is you. Please go back to your seat.
Yes, I'm with him. I'm Mrs. Iglesias.
No, you're not. You were just out here and you put sunglasses
Look at
on.
that now. See, look at that light flying around. That's a special effect that we did. Bob Yeoman, our great DP. You're always trying to make it feel like a plane's moving and not just sitting there and with blue out the window. That was a thing, like the plane was kind of banking and the sun was going by. So there you go, movie magic. Your relationship with your DP is probably the most important next to your relationship with your actors on the set because, if we don't capture it right and we don't light it right, and if it doesn't look right, then everything these amazing actors are doing is going to look terrible or just not work. So first things first, I need a DP who will cross shoot because as long as you can still see people's both eyes, That's what audiences connect with. It's so funny in movies because this is what's making it funny. It's seeing her in relationship to him, so that's the comedy, is like she's passing herself off as his wife, but he doesn't want anything to do with her, so you've got it all right there.
Sir, she can have my seat, okay? Everyone should experience first class at least once in their lives, and Annie shouldn't miss out just because she can't afford it.
No, ma'am, I'm afraid that's not allowed.
Help me, I'm poor.
I don't think that was in the script either. I think that now it's a very famous line. I've seen people make things on Etsy. You can get a mug that says, "Help me, I'm poor."
We're a whole wedding party. I'm the bride. I'm getting married. The seat's empty. She's obviously nervous. We'll calm her down a
You know
bit.
what? I understand, but Claire is right. We can
Everybody go back to your seats.
Okay, you especially. You have 3 seconds to get back to your seat.
You can't get anywhere in 3 seconds.
Well, you better try.
You're setting me up for a loss already.
Okay, thank you.
Like, I don't normally like people to get that close to camera because it becomes a little intense. But her getting up was just so funny that we wanted to keep it all in one shot, and it kind of worked. I mean, we kept everybody in focus, and it didn't get insanely big. So, happy accident.
Whatever you say, Stove.
It's Steve.
Stove. What kind of name is that?
Well, that's not a name. My name is Steve.
For comedy, I'm not a fan of music on comedy because I find it becomes very editorial and becomes very like, "Whoa, this is funny," or like we don't trust the audience. And also, a scene like this is played in the silences. That's what's the funny part, is the awkwardness of it.
Are you an appliance?
No, I'm a man, and my name is Steve.
You're a flight attendant.
That's absolutely accurate. You can close that. Thank you.
The dynamics of the scene are so funny because, you have a nervous person who's trying to do the right thing, who then gets sabotaged by getting this drug and booze combo, and then all this stuff comes out, and it's a classic comedy setup. I just love the dynamics of how many people are in this scene. That was just all Kristen stuff. But, then we also have the comedy of Melissa with Air Marshal John, and then you've got the relationship between Wendy and Ellie going on. And so it allows you to cut around all these things and really keep the energy up. You're learning a lot about everybody, and everybody's kind of coming apart at the seams and showing who they really are. It's weird. It doesn't feel like 10 years ago, and then sometimes it feels like it was 20 years ago. When you make a movie, there's such vivid things that happen to you every day, and it's also recorded, obviously, because it's a movie. And so these things just stick in your head, and you feel like they just happened because they're so alive in you. And I mean, just remembering moments of directions I gave or interactions I had on the set, or like, "Oh, try this," or things that surprised me that people would do, but I would just burst out laughing, and all that stuff stays very vital to you. But I guess when I really think about it, it does feel like 10 years because I've made so many movies in between that. But I think it's also the fact that people come up to me all the time and really talk about Bridesmaids and how much it means to them and how many times they've watched it, and they can quote lines. Normally, things don't tend to last that long in people's memories. So it's just a testament to the great work by everybody on this film.
I just feel like
Heaven is the end.
talking about it. Down to the river! Ready to party!
Everything Kristen does makes me laugh. She is one of the funniest people on the planet.